Hi, and welcome to all my transitioning military and veterans. This is Military Transition Tip Tuesday. My name is Lisa Rosser. I'm the founder and CEO of The Value of a Veteran. And every week I post a short video that offers just one tip that might help you with your process of transitioning out of the military and looking for that first civilian job, or if you've been out of the military for a little bit and you're still struggling to find that right first position, maybe this tip will help you as you're looking for work after the military. So this particular tip comes from a question that I've received, and the service member wanted to know, when is the right time for me to start going to all these different job fairs? Because if you're on an active duty military base, depending on which base you're on, there could be a career fair every week, or certainly every month that's occurring. And you might be 9 months away from getting out of the military, 20 months away from getting out of the military, or 3 months away from getting out of the military. So what's the right time to go and participate in these career fairs? So again, you have different goals every time you go. My suggestion to you is if you can get the time, your supervisor will support you in this, go to every single one that you can go to as early as you can in the process. If you know that you're not going to be re-enlisting, or if you know your retirement date is coming up, so you know what your end date is, I would go to as many as I could with, obviously permission from your supervisor, because you need a couple things. Number one, you need practice. If you are more than 6 months out of leaving the military, the recruiters there are looking to fill primarily the jobs that they have open now. So the next up to 120 days is typically what they're looking to fill. Now, they may have some extra people with them behind the table who are happy to talk to you about the company in general and where the locations are and the types of jobs that they recruit for, but they're not going to talk to you about anything specifically open at that time if you're not within 120 days of leaving the military. But that's okay. If you're more than 120 days out, you should still be going to this career fair. Just be upfront about it. I'm not getting out for another year, but I'm in that exploratory research mode right now, and I just want to see what kind of companies are looking to hire military, if you have a need for someone with the particular skill set that I have, and if there's any advice that you can offer me. So I would go as early and as frequently as you can possibly get away with, because number one, it's just going to familiarize yourself with the different types of companies that are looking to hire military, whether that company has any need for your particular skill set, and if they do have a need for your skill set, then where is that skill needed? So let's say you're an avionics professional, and you're thinking, okay, am I just kind of limited to going to look to work for the airlines? No, there's a lot of defense companies that also have those great contracts right there on those military bases to maintain planes or to build planes or repair planes, who could also use your skill set. There's companies out there, for example, there's one that installs the headrest, the audiovisual system that's in the headrest, the little movie player in the headrest. So that's not an airplane company, that's not a defense contractor, that's an electronics equipment company, but they need avionics techs to be able to install those in-viewing movie sets in the back of the headrest. So there's all kinds of different companies that could potentially use your skill set, and you're never going to know that until you go talk to people. And let's say you don't want to work in aviation anymore. Well, you still have electronics experience. You still have that maintenance experience. Don't throw that away. I mean, that's 4 years, 14 years, 24 years of your life. You can still capitalize on that without having to stay with the aviation industry. But you're not going to know who could utilize someone with your electronics and machinist background until you have a chance to talk to a lot of different companies. So again, I would take the time. Don't just rush in and rush out during your lunch hour. Take this seriously, because this is going to be your life, getting out of the military. We all had to leave the military at some point. I spent 22 years in. We all leave the military at some point. End of contract, disability, or downsizing. We're all leaving. So it shouldn't be this, you can only go to job fairs in your last 90 days. That's crazy. That's almost too late if you're waiting for the last 90 days to try and find something. You're almost setting yourself up to not have something to leap into once you leave the service. So start as early as possible and go talk to every company. Even if you're not sure that you've ever even heard of this company, you don't know what this company does or what they need, well, then go find out. That's how you're going to find out, is go talk to the recruiters. And again, be clear on what your experience is. Even if you're not 100% clear that that's what you want to do after the military, be clear on what you do and what you have experience in, and then let that company tell you whether or not that's something that they can leverage in some fashion and what that looks like. And maybe some of those companies only have, you know, opportunities for that type of experience in certain locations. You know, so for example, maybe you're talking to a company and you're like, oh, I remember, you know, back home there's a plant and that company has a plant there. So, you know, this will be easy. I'll just go back home and I'll get a job with that plant. Well, maybe the skill set that you have is not utilized very often at that plant, or they've got plenty of people, you know, maybe only 5 or 6 roles, and there's plenty of people already, you know, lined up to fill those roles. But if you were willing to go 2 states over, there's plenty of opportunity. New plant being built. So they're desperate. They need to hire, you know, 40 or 50 people to fill that plant with your exact experience. So if you're talking to the recruiters early, you're going to discover information like that, and you're going to say, oh, you know, I thought I was going to return home to Georgia, but if I'm willing to use my relocation benefit and go to South Carolina where they're building the new plant, then I've got a much better chance of getting in there, because I probably could not have gotten into the plant in Georgia, but I can definitely, you know, I've got a much better chance of getting into the plant in South Carolina. And you never would have discovered that information if you didn't have the conversation with the recruiter. So you need to do these conversations early. You need to attend every job fair that's coming through the pike. And if your supervisor is giving you a hard time about this, it's like, hey, you're a year out, you know, why are you going to the job fairs? Don't waste your time. You know, number one, remind them your time is coming. You're going to be getting out of the military too, and you're going to wish that someone had given you the opportunities to go explore as early as possible so that you could be set up. You know, I don't want to leave the military and go right to unemployment. That's not the plan. The plan is that I have a job to go to, that I'm ready to resettle myself or me and my family, and so I need all the support I can get. All I need is an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours off to go do this, and I'm not asking for much here. So advocate for yourself. Remind them that they're going to have to go through it too at some point. So the least they could do is support you right now while it's time for you to go through. And if there's any commanders and, you know, senior enlisted people listening to this, let your people go. Let them go to the career fair so that they have time to have these longer conversations with the service member. All right, so that's my tip for this Military Transition Tip Tuesday. You know, follow the hashtag, and so you'll see every time I post a transition tip here. If you've got any questions about the tip that I've just offered, or you've got other questions you'd like me to answer on a future Military Transition Tip Tuesday, drop it in the comments below, and then I'll be able to answer that at some point here coming up in the future. So with that, again, it's Lisa Rosser with The Value of a Veteran. I'm so thankful you've taken a few minutes out of your day to watch this video. Let me know if it was helpful to you. Let me know if there's other questions that you have. And please share this information with your fellow military members, with your fellow transition center offices. You know, if you're advising veterans in any capacity, whether on colleges or, you know, through the VFW or any of these VSOs, you know, please, by all means, feel free to share this information, because it's all just going to try and help the service member have a better opportunity to actually find a job to roll into once they leave the service. So again, thank you. Until next time, take care.